Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Today's all about third-party publications and free ones, free fan-made content, free fan-made material, free fan-made supplements for your 5e or Dungeons & Dragons 5e games, Dragon Ball. And of course, Dragon Ball Z is also part of that world. I've been looking forward to doing this. We're finally there, so it's happening today. My suggestion to you is get comfortable, and I'm going to put up a poll. Make sure you have some food, some drink, and you're ready. I'm going to go over this fairly quickly as a presentation, so I'm just going to talk about the product, the supplement, and then I will show you the supplement, okay, for those of you who are interested. So let's get started, shall we? No more waiting. Time to begin. Hi, welcome to How to RPG. My name is Fred Weller, and today I want to talk about role-playing games, Dungeons & Dragons 5e. I thought it would be great if I would discuss the supplement, and this is a free fan-made supplement for Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z, and it's 5e compatible. In other words, it's made using that game system, and I want to go over all the things that have really sort of interested me in this particular supplement. It is available, so if you want to actually check out the supplement, don't worry, it's down in the description. So there's only actually one free fan-made Dragon Ball 5e compatible document available. There's just one. There aren't any more as far as I can tell. And as I said, it does use the Dungeons & Dragons 5e rules. It is called Dragon Ball, and it's actually created by Cameron. Now I'm going to get these names probably messed up, but I'll do my very best. Cameron Shellchu is the lead contributor, and then Austin Mashichnu is contributing as a writer. Then we have Hunter Smelly as another contributor to the Dragon Ball supplement. The book is semi-professional with a unique layout and design. There is some large blank spaces in the book. I did notice that probably the layout's not as good as you would expect from a professional, but this isn't made by professionals, this is made by fans. There are 95 pages in the PDF. The artwork and illustrations are a mix of line drawings that people have done and color images of characters generally. The quality of the art style changes throughout the book, so you get some very basic sort of drawings, and then you get some very professional pieces of artwork as well. There is a very basic but quite serviceable color world map provided in the supplement near the back. There is a table of contents which is very useful. There is no index, and it probably could have done with an index, but it doesn't have one. The 5 rules that the Game Master are suggested to remember is presented as an introduction. It also gives you an introduction to this book and the setting just at the very beginning, just past the contents page. The new races that are created for the Dragon Ball world, well, we get the following. We get Android, Earthling, Frieza Clansmen, Hybrids, Margins, Namekins, I think that's right, Saiyans, and Shinjin. So you've got a few very sort of familiar races available to you. There are battle points described and explained in the supplement. Also faction information is provided, and you get a bunch of fighting styles, which for those of you who understand, Dragon Ball's all about fighting, so it makes sense that there'd be some complicated fighting styles here. And I kind of feel like these are powered up fighting styles, really. The world gazetteer is of Earth. It includes location information, some suggested adventure hooks for certain areas. You get a comprehensive language and deity list. There's a range of creative class archetypes that have been designed for this Dragon Ball setting. You have the College of Presentation, Poco Priest Domain, Martial Artist, Way of the Spiritualist, Oath of the Milk Delivery, I do not shit you, Oath of the Milk Delivery, Oath of the Spirit, Wild Bandit, the Masonic Soul, Lord of Time, and the Margin Progenitor, I believe it is. There are new backgrounds for the Dragon Ball setting, and these are the Galactic Patrol Agent, the Martial Artist Mentor, and then we also have the Scientist. There are a few extensive transformation rules provided with power-ups attached to that. These are all part of character creation and options. There's a couple of optional rules that are presented on seismic damage, so doing huge amounts of damage to structures in the earth and stuff like that. And then you've got some rules around the afterlife, because a lot of characters get beaten up and potentially killed and might still be coming back. There are 9 new feats offered. A small sample, I would say, to give you some idea of what Dragon Ball flavour might be like. But standard mechanical information and benefits with some prerequisites in some cases, but not always. There are new spells for Dragon Ball, and there's a bunch of them. I'm going to call them out. Some of you will probably recognize them, some of you probably won't, but some of them just make me laugh. The After Image, Destructo Disc, the Dodon Ray, Dragon Fist, Evil Contaminant Wave, Fabricate Clothing, Force Flash Strike, Hellzone Grenade, Instant Transmission, Kamahemia Wave, Mormon Fusion Dance. Good Lord, what a mouthful. The Spirit Blast, Solar Flash, or Flare should I say, Spirit Ball, Scatter Shot, Spirit Saber, the Spirit Bomb, the Tri-Beam, the Unleash Potential, and the Wolf Fang Fist. So there's quite a few different spells here that probably you are familiar with. Anyway, there are also 15 magic items flavored for the Dragon Ball setting, including Dragon Balls, of course, because you could not have that excluded from the supplement. That would be foolish. The Bestiary section is extensive with complex stat blocks that are quite interesting for monsters, animals, beasts, creatures, enemies, and of course major villains that you have seen on the television series. Some of the classic villains include their own lair information and lair actions. So if you wanted to build them out and use them, you certainly can. You get a bunch of cool vehicles such as motorcycles, cars, jets, tanks, aircraft, and submarines. The supplement is pretty good for a Dragon Ball campaign book. It's covered a lot of stuff. Maybe not everything that you might ever want to have, but whatever does, it does a fairly decent job of trying to cover what you need. So I would recommend checking it out if you are interested. Have a look down in the description. You'll find a link to this. It is completely free. It will not cost you anything. And yeah, that's what I have to say. So I want to say a big, huge thank you to the people who actually created this. They did a great job. I think that's it's certainly worth your time. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank my patrons who support me on Patreon so I can keep doing this for you. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. Okay, we're going to go to chat, and then I'm going to go through the document as part of the live stream. I'm going to do this, have to be very quick. It's a long document, so it's going to be very hard for me to. I'm not going to be able to read everything. I'm going to lose my voice. I'm already starting to lose it now. But some of the highlights we'll certainly look at to give you an idea of what you're coming across. And I've got a live stream today where we'll be playing a Halloween special on Wally DM's channel in a couple of hours. And I will be playing whatever I come up with. I'm not going to say just yet. But yes, it'll be a Beck Me game, so a basic Dungeons & Dragons game, for those of you who are interested. All right, let's have a look at the chat, and then we will go into the document. Hello, Pale Rider, how are you doing? I watched Dragon Ball Z only because the Cartoon Network was the only channel in English when I lived in Amsterdam for 6 months or so in 2000. Interesting. Look, I totally understand that. I don't think I'm a huge fan of Dragon Ball because I feel like it's taken the spaghetti western idea and just gone hard on the spaghetti western concept. So the whole thing consists of people powering up and you're watching them back and forth till something happens. Uh, Hello, Wally. How are you doing? Wally DM. I'll be hanging out with Wally very shortly. I have your book ready to go, buddy. So I'm all ready to promote your book when we start live streaming in a few hours. Always good to see free items in the spotlight. Yes, I've been making this a fairly common thing on my channel to cover things that are completely free that you don't have to pay for, that people have made that I thought somebody might be interested in. Anyway, let's go and have a look at the document and go from there. So this is it here, and if I capture this, no, stop pressing the wrong buttons. There we go. Let's try that. This is way too early for me, people. My brain is still not working properly. I'm just gonna say it now. It's way too early. Normally, I wouldn't be up right now. Well, I'd just be getting up now, and I've already been up for a little while. Anyway, here is the document. The unofficial source book for Dragon Ball D&D, and it is 5e compatible, as I said. So scrolling down, you get your artwork, your cover pages, a lot of disclaimer stuff, and it's got the open license document here. Can you imagine what would have happened with the fan-made content if suddenly the open game license did not exist? It would be very, very awkward. Probably not as awkward as somebody has to actually pay people to put something together, but yeah. Hello, Big Kid. Big Kid is a patron and also a moderator. Nice to have you, Big Kid. Love Dragon Ball Z. Wonder what it would be like at a table. Well, you're going to find out. So if you're a patron, you can already get access to a document that gives you links to a vast array of 5e compatible documents and source material and campaign books for very famous and popular IPs. Okay, so there's a lot there, and it's been there for a while. So if you're interested, you can grab them rather than waiting. Okay, anyway, here's the contents page. We will work our way down. As I said, we cover the 5 rules to remember, which is the DM adjudicates the power. This is supposed to be mostly balanced, apparently. I don't really believe in balance in D&D or even D&D 5e, so yeah, I take that with a grain of salt. Less is more, and I would say yes, less can be more. Try not to work too much into it. Don't do too much prep was probably helpful. Next, show change, so getting things to actually change in your campaign and enjoy the adventure. So in other words, the basics are covered here. Nothing terribly flashy. It does give you at least a page of explanation about what is actually in the book, a little bit of a rundown of the chronicles of the world that you'll be playing in. And you will get more lore in the gazetteer section. There's quite extensive stuff, in fact, on the whole topic. You get the languages that are appropriate, and it talks about refugees, the planet of refugees. Basically, that's what your planet is refugees are going there. The dragon world. And then, as I was mentioning, I said that there's a lot of line drawings, and there are quite a few line drawings in here that people have made that haven't been coloured in. So it kind of looks semi-professional rather than professional. Character creation, and this is where we start going into the different races or species or whatever the heck you want to call them. But yeah, these are your origins. What do you got here? What's this, Pale Rider? You would only need the 5e free basic rules to play, right? No, yeah, that's it, exactly. You wouldn't need anything else. If you took this and the free PDF for 5e, you wouldn't need anything else to be able to play. Absolutely. Okay, so Android. So your energy art increases by 1 tier. I'm not quite sure what that means. I'm sure they'll explain it. You are an Earthling, origin type speed, 30 feet, ancestry, legacy. I'm going to just zoom this in. This is very small. I can't see this. My eyes are old. I need to be able to get maybe even closer than that and to be able to scroll through this. Okay, now I can see a bit more. Okay, bonus equipment. So you get some bonus equipment. 15 GP. Okay. What's the standout feature? Dark vision. Oh, don't they all have dark vision? You get some skill proficiencies. Constructed nature. So immune to disease. Don't have to eat, drink, or breathe, and you have advantage on saving throws against being poisoned. Resistance to poison damage, and you don't need to sleep. So it works like the elf, basically. It's operating like the elf. And then Android model, there are 2 Android models, and they go into them right here. So I believe that would be your energy absorption, infinite energy, and silent soul. Is that right? Is that right? No. Android model. Choose from the following origins. Okay. All right. Moving on. Earthlings. So Earthlings, as you know, are just going to be humans. It does look like you get the luck of the mortals. So you can roll a 1 on a d20 for an attack roll, ability, a saving throw, and you can re-roll a die, but you must use the new re-roll. So getting a re-roll on a 1 is pretty good. To make it actually part of a race is a little bit nuts. Anyway, Earthling type. So there are a couple of different Earthling types. And we have the human type, the animal type, and you get a feat and a skill if you're a human, and if you're an animal, you get dark vision. And you also get, now what is this? It's not completely obvious to me what it is. Or Morphian aspect. So climbing speed, swim speed, and have proficiency in perception skill and beast speech. Okay, you can communicate with beasts. All right. Monster type. I think that's right. Yeah, so that's all part of the animal type. Okay, so then we get a monster type. So it goes human, animal, and monster. Monsters get dark vision and an unsettling visage. So well, that makes a little bit of sense. So when you make an attack roll against you, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on the roll. Ooh, okay. Oh, core. That's a lot. Okay. Frisia Clansman. So there's a lot of information explaining the Frisia Clansman. You didn't need a lot for the Earthling, but you do get a rundown on bonus equipment and the art increase. So your energy art increases by 1 tier. I'm not quite sure what that's all about. So you get some gear. What sort of gear do you get? You get fine clothes, a belt pouch, 15 gold pieces, 2 pints of wine, a glass bottle, and 1 gaming set. Okay, an obscure figure, and you're fitted with biological armor. All right. Okay. Frisia Clansman. Let's have a look here. So it looks to me like Frisia Clansman gets some sort of biological armor, which is a 12 plus your dexterity modifier, which makes it weaker than mage armor. I'm not sure why you would want to do that. And it seems a little bit odd. You know, 1 cantrip of your choice as well. That's Sorcery Legacy. Space worthy. Your body is insulated and tempered to survive the empty vacuum of wild space. You move 35 feet. Okay. That's your walking speed. You are classified as an alien. Your size. Oh, you are small at level 1 and you get bigger as you go up to level 3. So you go to medium size. Okay. All right. Lashing tail. So you get a semi-prehensile tail tipped with a bony blade. Okay. All right. So you'll be making attacks with that if you really feel like it. I don't know that anybody's going to necessarily do it. Maybe that would be a substitute for making an unarmed attack, which is usually just 1 plus your strength modifier, where in this case it's at least a d4 plus your strength modifier. And you don't have to be worried about being a monk. Hybrid. Hybrid gets luck of the mortals, just like the humans. Hybrid ancestry. Okay, that doesn't seem to be anything special there. Luck of the mortals is the same. And speed is 30 feet. And it then goes over what you could have. Okay. Margin. is it margin? I think it's margin. So the margin, what do you got for the margin? So more bonus equipment. I won't go over that. So it looks like not quite as much money as the other ones that I've talked about. You do get a speed of 25 feet, size as medium, mystic passage. You can squeeze through a space as narrow as 3 inches wide. Okay, so you can that'll cause some problems. Reform. Whenever you take bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage from non-magical weapons, you don't drop to 0 hit points, and you can use a reaction to roll a d4 and reduce the damage taken by the number rolled. Okay, all right, interesting. Sweet treats. You can cast Good Berry without expending a spell slot, and you must finish a long rest before you can cast it in this way again. Okay, all right, so you're getting Good Berry for free. And then margin confectionery. Margins divide themselves between 2 confectionery confections. Mighty Mage margins and Wonder. Okay, all right. I am kind of familiar with the chocolate bars and the sweets and so forth. And so there's a couple of different versions going on here. I won't go through all of it because it just isn't going to be time. Is it Namakin? Namakin? I don't know very much about these. 30 feet speed, okay. Namk finger. Whenever you make a melee attack on your turn, your reach for it is 5 feet greater than normal. So you extend it. It's like the bugbear basically. 3 sculpts of some of the main characters. Oh, do they? Thingiverse has sculpts for Dragon Ball. Okay, good to know. Thank you for that. Senses, so perception. You are proficient in perception. You have rapid regeneration. As a bonus action, you can expend a single hit dice, roll it, and regain any amount of hit points equal to the number rolled. You add your constitution modifier to the result of this roll. Okay, so it's like taking a short rest, but not a short rest. It's a bonus action. Okay, very 4E. Sounds very 4E. And there are 3 casts. The Demon Clan, which have superior dark vision. You get 120 feet worth of dark vision. Resistance to necrotic damage. Some witchcraft abilities, which basically means darkness and the find familiar spell. And sunlight sensitivity. Oh, good. And somebody still thinks that's worth putting in there. The Dragon Clan, you get healing hands. So you can actually heal, which is kind of nice. And healing is equal to your level. Okay, good to know. Wishmaker, so at 5th level, you can spend a period of time, and it looks to me like you can summon forth an eternal dragon wormling from the plane of dreams. Well, that's curious. All right, and then we've got the Warrior Clan, and the favor. What does the favor do? If you miss with an attack roll or fail an ability check or saving throw, you can draw on your bonds of recuperability. So basically, what is this doing? You have a bonus equal to the number of allies you can see within 30 feet of you. Maximum of 5. All right. Okay, and you use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. Okay. All right, so yeah. So it's only triggered on that if you miss or fail these things, and then you get to add this bonus, and maybe that's enough to get you to succeed. At level 3, you can cast Enlarge and Reduce. Okay, good. The Saiyans, and you've got Alien as your equipment. I won't go for that. Looks like you get a lot less gold. I wouldn't say that the gear is any better than the other ones. And then medium size, 30 feet, powerful build. You count as a creature 1 size larger when determining carrying capacity. Okay, all right, that's fine. Provided they're using encumbrance. They might not even be using encumbrance, so it won't matter. Warrior Resolve, descending from races of warriors, you have advantage on saving throws to avoid or end the frightened condition on yourself. Okay, all right. Saiyan Spirit, if you have not taken damage for 10 or more minutes, and you are missing half or more of your hit points, you regain hit points equal to your level. Okay, all right. You can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest. So there's no short rest mechanic so far as I can tell. Good. Glad to see it. Battle Manic. Your unarmed strikes are unusually robust thanks to your Saiyan origin. Your unarmed strikes deal 1d6 bludgeoning damage on a hit. In other words, what the monk should be able to do at level 1. And at 3rd level, your unarmed strikes are considered adamantium weapons. Oh, good lord. You have a clever tail. You can basically make attacks with it, and you can move things around with it. And I think the number of pounds that is going to be 5 times your strength score, which is quite heavy. You can lift, drop, hold, push, and pull something. Okay. You can actually grapple somebody with your tail. The Shinjin. Let's have a look at the Shinjin. Hello, Overboard. Overboard is a moderator, and I got your message, Joe, about Patreon and the problems we were having with Patreon, so I do understand. The reason I have kept Patreon people is because the cut of money that people give to me on Patreon, I get 95% of that cut, and Patreon only takes 5%. Other services would take more, and so it's only because I've got an old account and I never used a tier system. I always said that people could just pay what they wanted, and I think the minimum was $1. So I understand if you had a lot of problems with it, Joe. So that's all cool. I understand completely. And you're welcome to use the super chats as you mentioned, or the super stickers. But also too, look, people have just asked me, just tell me what your PayPal account is, and I will send money to the PayPal when I feel inclined. And that's all fine too. Yeah, because things like super chats, memberships on channels, and super stickers, YouTube takes quite a big cut on that. So just something to remember. Anyway, cool. Shinjin. Art increase, equipment bonus. So 10 gold plus some gear. We won't go over that. Let's have a look at what they can do. 30 feet is their speed. You can be medium or small. You have dark vision. Oh, what a surprise. Carnal clairvoyancy. You always know what direction, which direction. Okay, so you can't get lost, basically. Healing hands, we've kind of covered healing hands before. It works the same way as the last one. It's basically your level that you're healing hit points for. Discipline of creation, you get thaumaturgy as a cantrip. You can create a non-magical trinket or tool to fit in the palm of your hand, and it lasts until the end of your next turn. Okay, it's not very long. And then your Shinjin status, choose. Okay, so you've got to choose one of these sub races here. You get divine being. You can't be surprised. Mind link. You can speak telepathically. Oh, cool. That's the Koshin, and then Markoshin. Is it Markoshin? Markoshin. I'm going to get tripped up on this for sure. Dark sorcery, so you get detect magic, magnify gravity. Oh, good lord, it's a pretty powerful spell. Okay, keep going. Petrify. Is it? Yeah, petrify spit. As an action, you can spit at a creature 10 feet away. Really? They become restrained if they fail the Constitution saving throw. Good lord, are you serious? Of course they are. What have we got here? I might do that. YouTube takes like 50%. That's correct. YouTube does take 50%, and I'm happy for people to simply send stuff directly to PayPal because PayPal doesn't take any cut. So yeah. Building Z souls next. Each character begins with 3 Z souls, so there's a whole bunch of options here. You just need to go through them. I won't go through them because I don't have time. Battle points. So this is to sort of represent, I guess it's a way of tracking how well you're doing. So yeah. So we've got battle points, calculating power levels, fighting powers. So I had mentioned there were fighting styles or fighting powers, and this is where this section sort of starts. So we get fighting power, we get detect battle power, we get mental simulation training, there is dancing sky art, there's the dragon soul, and you need a certain number of points to be able to activate these features. Okay, determining arts. Energy art. All right, I don't know that I'm terribly interested in. It looks like there is something around it. It's a curious mechanic, as far as I can tell. Your arts are ranked using multiple tiers of power, as shown in. Okay, all right. When you create your Dragon Ball D&D character, each of your arts begin at tier C. So it's the lowest tier, obviously. Your arts increase by 1 tier when you complete a sustained amount of training. So this is trying to duplicate and give you a training system. Put something in place for that. So interesting. Curious, but still interesting. Okay. Factions of Earth, the Capsule Corporation, and some information on the Capsule Corporation. Figures of interest. So they've got a few here. And then what have we got here? The Dark Empire faction, and some various figures of interest as well under the Dark Empire. The Frisia Force, the Galactic Patrol. I like the fact that they give you a little bit of information on the faction and then some figures that are important within that faction, which is good to be able to have something to build on. What do we got here? What do we got here, Pale Rider? I'll give you my PayPal. Yeah. Everyone in chat, please give me your PayPal information. I'll send someone some cash. No, don't do that. It get pricey. Oh dear. No, let's not do that. Okay. Major Laser. Major Laser, how's it going? I can't imagine myself playing Dragon Ball, choosing anything other than a Saiyan. I kind of agree. I do agree that it would be hard to play Dragon Ball and not just pick Saiyan as a playable option. We have the Red Ribbon Army. We have the Time Patrol and their figures of interest. And then all the factions are kind of a quick reference table, which is good to have. Other noteworthy factions. So this is just the smaller factions. They haven't given you a lot more information on. Okay, cool. And then some artwork, and then we move down, and we're into the World Gazetteer. Now, I'm not going to go over the World Gazetteer, and I'm just going to sort of scroll around through and sort of quickly highlight what's here, because I want to get further on. We're only on to page 22, and there are 95 pages. So the Jungle Village, the Muscle Tower, the Rigged North, the Gizzard Wasteland, Northern Capital. Now you'll notice there are some sections here. Sometimes it has like a bolded section, like Path to Power, mid-level. So it gives you like a quest or a adventure hook for that location that you could tie in to a campaign that you're running. So it doesn't do that all the time, but it does occasionally have these here. And that does give you an indication of what level they might be useful for. Next, but artwork, Mount Paizu? Is it Paizu? I think it's Paizu. The Sleepy East, the Eastern Capital, the Oran Temple, the Satan City, okay. Southern Tropics, Papia Islands, okay. So there's a bunch of these. Kokolay Tower, Southern Capital, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll past most of this, but look, they've definitely given you a whole bunch of information on the various places around here. This goes on for a while. It's not just a small section of the document. It actually takes up quite a bit of area. So for those of you who are not particularly familiar with all that information, or you forget it, I don't think you need to worry, because I think they've given you quite a bit of information to deal with. So if you can reference this book, and I think the contents page will do most of the heavy lifting for you, probably not all of it. Here we go. We have the deities. There's a list of deities. common symbols, suggested domains, province, alignment, and what the name of the deity is. And we have the lesser deities and I guess the greater deities. Okay, then moving on to character options. You're a Saiyan, you're a Saiyan, you're a Saiyan, everyone is a Saiyan. That's right. It's like the dungeon master or game master showing up to a game and everybody decides to play a cleric, which I always have feared that somebody in my group might get together and just all decide to play a cleric, because that would be rough to deal with. It means that everybody can heal each other. It would be tough. And they're probably all covered in heavy armor, cast spells. They're a full spellcaster, and they have fighting prowess. Like, good lord. So, yeah. But I've had a whole party show up as wizards, so why not Super Saiyans? So what they do here in this section under the character options is they take the classes that are standard in the player's handbook and also in the basic rules, and they go over them and how you would apply the artificer, the barbarian, the bard, cleric, druids, fighters, monks, paladins, rangers, your rogue, sorcerer, warlock, and wizard to the world of the Dragon Ball. Okay, and then we have some classes that have been reinvented. So instead of calling it an artificer, we could call it an engineer, and a barbarian would be called a berserker. The bard would be called a hero. A cleric would be called a guardian. A druid, a shapeshifter. A fighter, a warrior. A monk, a martial artist, which makes a lot of sense. A paladin would be an agent. Ranger, they haven't put anything here, but rogue has got elite, and sorcerer has been mutant. So yeah, so they try to fit it in. They do give you some new subclasses. No new classes, but new subclasses are here. And I did actually discuss those. I don't want to go into a huge amount of detail on them because there's a lot. They've created quite a bit of material for it. What I would say is they are definitely following the same procedural process as the 2014 Player's Handbook in terms of subclasses. They're not using the newer one because this was probably made before the Unearthed Arcana was being had started. Okay, and so there's a whole bunch of different features here you can check out. There are techniques and spells also listed here. So some of the spells that you already have in the Player's Handbook or available in the free PDF for 5e, they've renamed some of those spells. So like Anti-Magic Field would be called the Key Sealing Field, and Blink would be Soko Movement or Sonic Warp. Blur would be called Wild Sense or Super After Image, things like that. So that they've renamed some of the spells that already exist. Okay, and right, so let's some of the names of these subclasses. The one around milk delivery just cracked me up. It was hard not to laugh at that one. And Wave the Spirit, yeah, to keep going. Yeah, Oath of Milk Delivery. This very, very Dragon Ball-y. Anyway, since we still got a long way to go, we're not even halfway through, people. So for those of you who are wondering, do you get a lot of stuff in here? Yeah, you certainly do. A lot of stuff for players, but also for the Dungeon Master or Game Master. So backgrounds, there are 3 backgrounds. The Galactic Patrol Agent, and basically they get either 2 skills. Okay, you get acrobatics, investigation, performance, or persuasion. You have to choose. Thieves' tools and tinker tools. Those are tools that you're actually proficient in. You get 1 language of your choice, so you get quite a few things as part of your background. And then you get some equipment, and then you get the Cosmic Police. So as a Galactic Patrol Agent, you are well versed in galactic conduct and law regulations. Whether you choose to follow them is entirely up to you. Wherever you go, you can utilize your connections to attain information and enter areas that would otherwise be inaccessible to the general public, so long as you are not outside of the Galactic Patrol jurisdiction. So that's being able to collect information as a feature is quite good. It's probably better than having a safe house or a place to stay, which often backgrounds do. Okay, next, let's keep going. And I like the fact they have included the personality traits table, the ideals, bonds, and flaws, like we would normally get from a background. The martial arts mentor. So basically you get acrobatics and insight as proficient skills. You get one type of musical instrument as a tool proficiency. You get one language. You get a bunch of equipment. And then you'll feature aspiring pupils. You have trained many strong and talented warriors in the past, and you are still in contact with at least one of them. They may be willing to offer a place to hide, rest, or recuperate. So as long as you... Okay, all right. So basically this is a place to stay. There's your safe house, okay? All right. And then we get the personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws for that one. The scientist. I think it's pretty obvious what that does. You get Arcana Investigation. You get Smith's Tools or Tinker Tools. You have to choose as a tool proficiency. You get 2 languages. You get some equipment. And then your feature is a Grease Monkey. You have an eye for machinery and mechanical inventions and understand their basic inner workings and components. You can also gain access to a workshop or garage. Well, that's nice. That's it. That's what they say. Okay, and then after that, it's just left to you to negotiate with your game master. Traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. Okay, we got some feats here. I'm going to say right now, I was reading through these feats, and most of the feats, not all of them have a prerequisite, but you will notice that quite a few of them are very similar to feats that already exist in 5e. They've just reflavored for the setting. So they're not like, completely new. I think there was just a couple that were sort of stand out, and that was it. Okay, so here we go. Demonic wings. Basically, you get to fly 20 feet. Okay, if you aren't wearing heavy armor. The DandD priest, which has a prerequisite, and almost all of these feats do have prerequisites. Increasing your wisdom score by 1, and you get to learn cure wounds. And there's a couple other features related to that. The Dragon Champion gets you an increase of 1 to your strength score, and allies that you can see within 5 feet of you. Target. Okay, so basically that's you're basically it's like a redirect of an attack basically. Heavyweight, so increasing your strength and your total weight doubles. Your carrying capacity increases, and your ability to push, drag, and lift stuff doubles. So nothing new really with that one. Last resort, you are equipped with dangerous devices, a weapon of last resort used in only the most desperate situations. As an action, you can detonate an explosive within your body and immediately drop to 0 hit points. So you can blow yourself up as a last resort. For those of you who have been waiting for a feat where you could actually blow yourself up, now you can. Okay. And it will do a whole lot of damage to creatures within 30 feet. Okay. Creature takes a d8 worth of force damage. Latent power. So basically, if you drop to 0 hit points, you're not killed outright. Instead, you fall to 1 hit point. It's really the half orc feature. Really, that's really all that's doing there. Poisonous. So your advantage on saving throws against poison, resistance to poison damage. You have a tail that you can use to attack and does poison damage. Okay, all right, or can poison somebody. You have the shape-shifting Academy Initiate, and is that right? No, Triceratops Ancestry. Last feat here, I think that's right. The layout's a little bit odd sometimes. You get to increase your intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, or charisma by 1. So you have to pick one of the 3. You have keen senses. In other words, you're going to get detect magic. Lovely. Okay, cool, fine. Spells. Now, there are a bunch of spells. Again, I would say that most of the spells are, pretty standard. I don't think they're anything particularly special. The same sort of thing we've seen generally. They are trying to at least rename them so that they sort of fit into the world. And what do we got here? So they've listed who can actually use these spells, and there are a bunch of them, and we are on page 48. So I'm still not that far through. There's a way to go. After image, Destructo Disc. I'm not going to actually go through and read all these because there just isn't the time. So I'm going to say go check them out. There's a bunch of them at various levels. I think the table there is quite helpful there because that gives you an idea of what level the spell is, what school it's from, what's it called, whether it's concentration. There's only about 3 concentration spells there. None of them are rituals, and it then tells you which class can actually use it, which is good. Okay, so scrolling through here. And there's a lot of damage dealing spells, by the way, people, if you were wondering. Transformation, power-ups. So apparently as you play this game and the setting, you're going to transform, and there's a whole bunch of rules around how that would look. So empowering transformations, extending transformations, mind, body mastery, natural forms. It kind of reminds me a little bit of metamagic, but it's kind of metamagic and training combined. And as you train and as you transform, you are obviously going to become more powerful. I think this is one of those times where you definitely, obviously if you're playing a campaign and it's Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball, you're playing a superhero campaign. So the characters are going to be very, very strong, which is why I was interested to see how powerful the enemies, monsters and beasts would be, because you're going to need them to be a lot stronger, correct? So there's a whole bunch of stuff on this, and they're laid out. They actually look a little bit like a stat block, these transformations or powers, and they also kind of look a little bit like a power stat. In Dungeons and Dragons 4e, there were power cards, and I almost feel like they are looking a little bit like power cards. So there's a bunch of these. So you can, you've got the Barrier of Light, the Demonic Will, plenty of information on it. You can, the Giant Ape, or the Great Ape. So for those of you who remember that the main character, is it Goku, can transform into a great ape. Well, yes, you can do this in this game as well, because the information is there to how to do it. Keeping going, I'm not sure what that says there. Maximum power, perfect power, and purification, super Namkin, and what else we got here? No, we're still going. Super Saiyan, so there is the transformation to Super Saiyan for those of you who are looking for that. it will happen eventually. And then we have suppressed power, ultimate evolution. Okay, so those are the transformations or power-ups or training aspects. So there's that going on there. Next, we have the optional rules. This is where I said that it was rules around seismic damage from blows. So when you take a critical hit, or when you fail a saving throw of 5 or more, or when it drops to 0 hit points but isn't killed outright, there are some things that can happen. And cataclysms are a big factor, right, of Dragon Ball. So that's why they've got some seismic rules in there and how things work. And then we have the afterlife, because as I said, it is possible your character might die. So the world of Dragon Ball is no stranger to battle, and at times the death of a player character can slow or even halt the progress of the epic adventure. At higher levels, players have many spells available to them that can return the fallen to life, and the magic of the Dragon Balls themselves is also a solution to this trouble. If you wish to give fallen characters a new journey or provide options for their resurrection, consider introducing some of these rules. So really, this is an opportunity to simply apply a new option for bringing the character back at higher level using the Dragon Balls, and providing a few extra quests and ideas like that. And yeah, we've got a 1-day revival, and we've got the otherworldly journey. So going on a journey to another world to actually come back to the material world. Okay, next, magic items. We have the Dragon Ball Locator. We have a Dino Capsule. A championship belt, which gives you a bonus to a charisma or perception check, persuasion checks or intimidation. A demon fork, oh good lord, a +1 to attack and damage rolls made with a magic weapon. Good lord, 2d6 extra damage on that little sucker. The Dragon Ball Locator is basically just a radar for finding Dragon Balls, people. The Dino Capsule has a bunch of things going on here. There's a table that indicates what you get. So in other words, the small capsules are numerically labelled and allow for the transportation of large objects you can use. All right, so it's like a Pokeball, but you don't store creatures in there, you store gear in there. Okay, a small extra dimensional space. Nice. Fruit of the Gods. Okay, so this looks like it is a wondrous item. Oh, and you get exhaustion after you've used it. Really? Nice. I like it. So you get 100 temporary hit points. Your strength score goes to 25. Good lord. It's a fruit. So I guess once you eat it, that's it. It can't be used more than once. You can attack twice instead of once. All right, so there's a few things going on. Micro band. What's the micro band do? While you're wearing this band, you can use a bonus action to press the band's face, benefiting from the effect of the enlarge reduce spell. Okay, so basically it's enlarge reduce on a magic item. Aurenia of heroism. Good lord. What is this? Basically a woodwind instrument bestowing magical enchantment. It's a spell focus. Okay, so it's basically just a spell focus with Beacon of Hope. Okay, and then what else we got here? Potara. What's the Potara? Jewelry, and you get a spell which is the Meta Moran Fusion Dance spell. Okay, all right. And what's this one? Power Pole. You gain a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with this magic weapon. Okay, all right. Basically, it's a mystical redwood staff. Okay, and it has a couple other features that it can do. You can carry quite a lot when you have this staff, by the looks. 4,000 pounds is a lot. Climbing speed of 50 feet. Transform into a long pole up to 50 feet long, as specified. Really? So you've got an extendable pole, power pole. And what does this set do? Capsule contains green seeds, semi-submerged in an unknown liquid. When found, it contains 1d4 seeds. All right, so you can grow stuff. All right, okay, wonderful. Keep going. The Scouter, Senzu Bean, and then Dragon Ball. So yes, for those of you who are wondering, Zenta Sword. So this is basically a sentient sword with a whole lot of stats for it. Okay, interesting. There's a lot going on there. That definitely looks like it. Yeah, it's an artifact. Internal dragon. All right, so the Dragon Balls are actually discussed as well. That's just a little bit of information on it. Bateful battle. So this is where you start seeing information about various creatures and beasts that you could incorporate into your campaign. Okay. So they talk about incorporating mummies, krakens, the ogre. We've also got dinosaurs, vampires, zombies, ghosts, things like that. And then they have their own little bestiary laid out slightly different to what you're probably used to. I'm looking at this and I think the maths is pretty much the same as I would normally see. So what I would be inclined to do if you're going to run a campaign in this world, since I think their mass looks like it's pretty similar to what you would normally expect from a 5e monster with challenge rating, so they haven't really pimped it out. I would probably think it's smarter to make sure you throw higher challenge ratings at your player characters using all of the player character options that are available, because they've got so many things that make them more powerful. You're probably going to have to do something to make it a bit harder for them, so throwing higher challenge rating stuff at them and ignoring the challenge rating system, it's not going to work for a campaign in the Dragon Ball world. You're going to have to break that quite a lot. Flying Nimbus, giant mole cricket, really? A giant trout? Are we getting attacked by a trout? A jiggler, garaz. I'm not sure what a garaz is. What is a garaz? It is basically it's a flying dinosaur. Okay, okay. And then we have a big ape, and that's a legendary. It's got legendary actions too, by the way. There are some legendary creatures here, for sure. And then we have pirate robots. I love that idea. We need to have more pirate robots in the world. The gravel goblin and the hysteria shaman, the organic curry Saberman. All right. Spine Saberman standard, swarm of Burbleman. Burbleman. Okay. All right. So now, you know how I was saying that there are like major villains or major characters, and they have a lot more information on them. This is where we start. Supreme Kai. There's a little bit of information on there. We get a stat block for standard and a powered up version. And then you also sometimes get lair actions and lair information, which is nice. Time Rift. Yadaratin. Let's have a look here. Perfect Cell. So here we go. So there's an example here of some of the lair actions incorporated with some of the villains that you could use. Okay, or foes. And we'll also scroll down here again. Keep going. Cell Janitor. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. Frisia, Emperor Frisia is actually in here. So if you're hoping that you would find that information here, yes, there should be a stat block here, and there should be the lair actions to go with their lair. So Emperor Frisia is here. Quite complicated. It's a big stat block. It's going to take a lot of work to get that running. And it has legendary actions, as you would expect from a major force. The Ginyu Force is included. Captain, yep. And we'll just scroll down here a little bit further. Rikomi, I do remember this character, so they've included it. King Piccolo is included, so if you wanted to use Piccolo, you can, along with the legendary actions. I don't know that he's got a lair action. No, he doesn't. But Boo, Majin Buu does. Majin Buu does have regional effects, lair actions, and there's a pretty extensive stat block for that character as well. Okay, with legendary actions and lair actions and all the rest. What else we got here? Radiz. I think it's Radiz. And now here with the vehicles. There's only a few vehicles, but they do at least include them, which is nice. That gives you armor class, hit point, speed, creature carrying capacity, things like that, how much they weigh, what they're called, and generally how fast they move. So that's essentially all the information you need. It's very condensed, but it does what it needs to do, which is great. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, there are 2 pages for the world map. So you'd have to print both and then butt them together. So the planet Earth, the dragon world is here. So we get the first half, and we scroll down, we get the second half of that as well. And that gives you the world of your campaign. And then we finish up. This is the end of the document. So yeah, for those of you who were hoping that you would be able to play Dragon Ball 5e, and you were worried that nobody would ever sort of do it officially, you don't need to worry about that, because somebody's done it for you. Okay, you don't need to go and pay for a diddly squat from anybody. You don't have to support Wizards of the Coast if you don't want to, because they won't be getting any licensing fee whatsoever. So, done. Now, before I disappear, I'm going to just end this poll. I'll end this poll, and I will then give you a link to where I will be in a couple of hours. In about 2 hours, I will be playing Back Me Basic Dungeons and Dragons, and it will be a Halloween special. I understand Wally has some puzzles for us, and it's supposed to be scary, I hope. It's supposed to be Halloweeny. I'm not going to promise that I won't be a goofball, because that's normally how I play, particularly when I'm live, because I can't see why anybody else would want to watch it in the first place unless I am being an idiot, frankly. So, do you like Dragon Ball as a campaign setting for D&D 5e? Undecided, 46%. Okay, fair enough. Yes, 33%. No, 13%. Just watching, 6% out of 15 votes. Now, the reason I do this, the reason I do these free fan-made supplements is I know that this stuff isn't for everybody. But for those of you who are wanting to move away from the Forgotten Realms, away from Eberron, away from the official worlds of Dungeons and Dragons that Wizards of the Coast or TSR has created in the past and still working on, those of you who want to do something else with your game, but you don't have the time to build all of it, and you're interested in certain intellectual properties, I want to keep doing that so you get to mix that up. Also, I will certainly be covering other things, such as Ultramodern 5 is also a book designed to allow you to play in many different settings with all the rules to make that happen. And it's no shirk, mate. Chris made it a big, heavy book. It's got pretty much everything you need. And also, Espers Emporium of Esoterica is one of those books too, where you can use a lot of different information in here, make your own thing, do your own stuff. And this is a very robust book, probably one of the heaviest books I've ever had. Or probably one of the most expensive books I've seen made, frankly. I don't know how he made any money off it. But anyway, so I'm going to keep doing that, particularly the free stuff. There are many more IPs that I can cover. And over the months, you'll see more and more of them popping up. And pick the stuff that you like, ditch the stuff you don't like, check it out, decide if there's anything you feel like you could use. And you don't have to pay a cent. All you got to do is check it out. That's all you got to do. Nothing else. Right. So I am going to finish up right there. And we will go over here. Oh, hang on. I forgot. I have to give you the link to Wally's live stream, don't I? Because if I don't do that, then that's not very good. It's not going to work out. This is where I'll be in 2 hours. And we are playing, for a while there, we didn't think we were going to have AJ Pickett, but AJ got a little bit confused. So we do have AJ coming. So good news. So let's just grab that link now. And go copy, drop it into here. In about 2 hours, we'll be playing. And truthfully, I will probably do what my players tried to do to me when I was trying to run a Halloween one-shot last year. I will probably Scooby-Doo that sucker as much as I possibly can. Okay. All right. There we go. There. So there's the link. That's where I'll be in about 2 hours. So I want to say a huge thank you to all of my patrons who support me on Patreon. I want to thank the people who created the document for Dragon Ball that's compatible with 5e. You guys did a lot of hard work there. I'm glad you have. I'm glad it's available for somebody to use. I want to thank everybody who's been in the chat, responding to the poll, listening, watching, taking on board, whatever, commenting. So big, huge thank you to Pale Rider, Major Laser, Overboard Joe, Wally DM, Big Kid, and thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And again, thank you to my patrons who make it possible for me to keep doing this so that people get something different to what you would normally come across. So wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, the night, or the wee early morning, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s.